What's up, YouTube? Sergio Becerra II here again, and welcome back to my channel. And today I'm going to be doing another book review. And I'm pretty sure you have already seen this in one of my other videos involving Frankenstein. So this is one book that I bought a couple of years ago, finally read it, and haven't had a chance to do a review on it. So here it is, In Search of Frankenstein. I do have uh, the book cover that goes along with this. I'm just keeping it safe somewhere upstairs in my room because it's all torn up. Well, not badly torn up, just preserving it as much as I can. So here it is. And the author's name, if I'm pronouncing this correctly, it's in here. Radu Florescu. So here it is. Right here. Yep. So I'm going to try to make this as simple as I can. So Florescu, who wrote the book, I know he died some years ago. So I know he published this, I think, back in the 70s, I think. And he has come out in a documentary talking about Mary Shelley, the films, and then, of course, the history of the real Frankenstein family in Germany. But, of course, the whole book starts up from beginning of the history of the family, then with the novel, then up with the films, all that. So first of all, he starts off with the real Frankenstein family of Darmstadt, Germany. Excuse me. So he talks about how the castle's founding, who built the castle, even though there have been there's a lot of folklore uh, that's involved with the castle's history, including the family. So basically, the castle was founded and erected by Conrad II von Bruberg, who started building the castle in the mid 1250s. It was finally opened before the year 1252. So even though he held the title of Conrad II von Bruberg, he ended up calling himself Conrad I von Frankenstein, the very first Frankenstein family. And then, of course, the castle was open to many German counts. And then, of course, the Frankensteins were also recognized as imperial barons in connection with the Holy Roman Empire. So the Frankenstein family was an important family in Germany. The castle built up in the hills above the city of Darmstadt. The castle does, of course, cover some historical figures. Another one, of course, fast forward later to the 1400s, you have Baron Frank von Frankenstein, who was a member of the Teutonic Knights, and at one point got into a battle, none other than Prince Vlad Dracula Tepes III, aka Vlad the Impaler. Frank Frankenstein died at the hands of Vlad the Impaler. So this became the true tale of Frankenstein versus Dracula. So Frank Frankenstein is actually buried in a church in Romania. It does cover more, and there's still more details about the Frankenstein family. In fact, the Frankenstein's kind of like split, even though every single member lived in the castle. You had the knights and the lords of Frankenstein. Basically, they just for some reason just split up. And then, of course, the castle further extended from the outer courtyard from the main courtyard of the castle. And then, of course, the castle itself does have its own chapel right on the castle grounds. So, and most of the members of the Frankenstein family are also buried in the town of Niederbierbach, which has also been in control of the Frankenstein family because the little church in that little town has most of the members of the Frankenstein family, and there's also one member whose life story kind of like resembles Saint George and the Dragon, Sir George von Frankenstein. According to the tale, even though it's been a myth, allegedly, like Saint George himself, it is said that George Frankenstein was battling a dragon, even though it's impossible. Maybe in the mid 16th century, because he died in the year 1531. No exact date exactly. George Frankenstein was the son of Philip von Frankenstein, no doubt who was in charge of the castle. So, according to the tale, George Frankenstein was said to have been fighting a dragon, even though he slayed it, but still the dragon managed to maintain conscious and pierced George Frankenstein's leg with its poisonous tail. Both died, and he's buried in the same church in Niederbierbacher. And his crypt is inside the church. So I know there's a picture right here. Let me find it. Okay, so you got pictures. Okay, I got some pictures right here at the castle. Yeah. I know this is an old book. I actually got this off of Amazon. Bought it used. That's why it's so old. Okay. Okay. Here's some pictures of the castle right here. And then you see on the and you see like a passageway that goes up to one of the towers, and then of course you got that seal right there. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Here are some effigies of the barons of Frankenstein in Sibiu in Romania. Which is where Frank Frankenstein was buried, where he fought Dracula. And here's his crypt right here. Close up of Baron Frank von Frankenstein. Right there. That's Frank Frankenstein. And other members and effigies of the family as well. Let me see if I can find that one with let me see if I can find it. I'm trying to find a picture of George Frankenstein. Okay. I'm doing everything I can to find it. I apologize. I know I'm taking forever just to find the image of the crypt. Oh, you know what? I think it's on the book cover that I have upstairs. So I don't have that. If it's not here in the book itself, then oh well. Oh, what I can do is, you know what? I'll just bring it up on my phone. I apologize for making this long. I never I can find it because I got it in what on my Facebook album pictures. So we're gonna go there instead. Here we go. Here we go. So if you can see, that is the crypt and effigy of Sir George von Frankenstein. I had to pull this up on my Facebook album photos. So that's it right there. That's George Frank. That's George Frankenstein. And I have another photo. Where is it? Okay. Well, I'm gonna bring up another character. Well, another not a character, but another historical figure involving the Frankenstein family. So, like I said, George Frankenstein dies of a dragon, is what the story is later told. And then by the year 1662, the the family later sells the castle, and then they later move out. And then 11 years later, another figure, which would be the uh, what's the word? I'm so sorry. Would be the would be considered the real inspiration for Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, and that would be the German alchemist, theologian, and physician Johann Conrad Dippel, who was born at Castle Frankenstein in the year 1673. Apparently, after the Frankensteins left the castle, it was later used as a military hospital because you had the forces of King Louis XIV invading Germany, which history does say. Dippel was born, like I said, in the castle. He was not related to the Frankenstein family, but he felt like he was, even though he was born there, and he was fascinated by the castle and its history, making him feel like he was. And just like in Frankenstein, he, um, well, Frank Mary Shelley's main character, Victor Frankenstein, Dippel believed he was above everyone else, just like Victor Frankenstein in general. And I know the picture of Dippel's here in the book. Let me find it. Sorry, I have to go through this again. Castle Frankenstein. Oh, here we go. Okay, here's the picture I was trying to look for. That's for George Frankenstein, right there. George von Frankenstein, the Dragon Slayer. It says in the footnote. And here's another one. Two more effigies. There's one. Here's one right here. This is actually George Frankenstein's brother, Hans von Frankenstein, and his wife, Emil von Klein. Now, their statues are inside the Frankenstein family chapel, which is on the castle grounds, which is the top photo up right here. And here's another one. You can barely see. This is Anna von Frankenstein. As far as I know, died in the year 1360 and is buried in Niederbierbach. Okay, and here's the photo I was telling you about. That is Johann Conrad Dippel. That's him right there. The man who would be the true inspiration to Frankenstein, and it would be the one who would become Mary Shelley's main character, Victor Frankenstein. Engraving on Conrad Dippel. Okay, and here is, and right here, let's see, the page of Dippel's work. Okay, and also here, right here on the bottom, right here, this is actually the cover for one of Dippel's theological works. Like I said, he wasn't just an alchemist and a physician; he was also a theologian, a Lutheran theologian, to be exact. And like Victor Frankenstein, Dippel did in fact rob graves, experimented with corpses, combining both alchemy and human anatomy together. And then, of course, as it is said in Mary Shelley's book, it is rumored, part folklore tale, that Dippel created a monster himself with corpses Again, this is all but a mythical folklore tale, so no evidence whatsoever that he constructed his own monster. But as an alchemist, one of the main theories is that even way before electricity was even founded, like many decades later after Dippel's time, uh, alchemists would try to transplant one soul from one body into another by the use of a funnel, and of course, that's no way to be exact. It's not true. To put it that way, I meant to say. But Dippel, in fact, died near Wittgenstein Castle um, in 1734. A lot of people said he died of a stroke, which may have had to do with poisoning. But as part of another folklore tale, that he died on the grounds of Castle Frankenstein or on other properties not far from the castle. It is rumored that he created an elixir of life by using corpses, which is said to have killed him. But there's no evidence of that. That's another folklore tale, even though some believe he did die by making an elixir of life with corpses. But no, he actually died of a stroke, even though it may have had to do with poisoning. Yeah, so as for Mary Shelley in general, when she wrote Frankenstein, there is no doubt she based the story of her main character, Victor Frankenstein, that had to do with Dippel's life in general. And as for the title itself, there is there is no doubt that she had to have learned the story of Dippel, and then of course the castle, and then using the name of the castle as the main title, Frankenstein, or the modern Prometheus, as it was once called. So no doubt Frankenstein is based off Dippel's life because Victor Frankenstein too had an obsession with alchemy, and then of course the understanding of life and death. Victor Frankenstein also had a thing for alchemy as well. Um, Dippel, like I said, once again, he was an alchemist in a position, but of course a theologian. But there are more books written by him involving his theology. But since he had been into many controversies dealing with his theological work, that made many enemies. As for his books involving theology, uh, some were published, some were not allowed to be published because he had been in disputes with Protestant other Protestant theologians. So yeah, his books are still alive, but they're just kept preserved, never been reprinted in the modern age, or nor translated from German to other languages. So now we fast forward with Mary Shelley. Once again, when her and her soon-to-be husband Percy Shelley, as they were traveling through Europe and then of course the Rhine River, which is in Germany, she tells in her journal, a ruined tower with its desolated windows stood on the summit of another hill, which of course had to have seen the castle itself from the Rhine River. But the castle and the river are 30 miles apart. So still, there's no doubt, which to some historians would say that she did see from far away Castle Frankenstein. Then, of course, had to learn about Johann Conrad Dippel and his experiments, and then, of course, being born at Castle Frankenstein, which gave her all the information she needed to write the book. Her and Percy and Mary's older stepsister Claire, they later met up with the poet Lord Byron, and then of course Byron's physician Dr. John Polidori, and that's when Byron suggested uh, a challenge: who would write the best horror novel, and that's when Mary Shelley had her wakening dream, seeing the monster, seeing Victor Frankenstein give life to the monster. When I say waking dream, in other words, she did have a dream but saw it when awake. And they were staying at the Villa Dati in Geneva, Switzerland. Now, what some may not know, apparently, before she started writing the book, in the year 1815, Mount Tambora in Indonesia erupted, one of the biggest eruptions ever in recorded history. The, the biggest. In fact, since I do have knowledge of volcanology, it is it is recorded as a VEI 7 volcanic explosivity index, a level 7. There's only 8 levels. As I said, a level 7 eruption, which is what Tambora had. One eruption closer to a super eruption. So by the year 1816, and by the time summer had kicked in that year, that's when there was nothing more than cold, hard rain, um, no sunshine, no heat, no nothing, no summer. And of course, the Tambora's eruption did cause a lot of problems across the globe, from famine to starvation, disease, and all that. And then, of course, now fast forward to the mid 20th century. That's when we have the horror films of the time. None other than the legendary actor himself who played the role of the monster. That would be Boris Karloff in the 1931 horror film Frankenstein. So I have to say this is like the best piece of history that I've ever read, and I'm glad. So here it is, In Search of Frankenstein, once again by Radu Rescu. If I'm saying that correctly, let me just. I'm sorry, Radu Rescu, who wrote every single account, starting off with the real family of Frankenstein, the House of Frankenstein in Darmstadt, Germany, then fast forwarded with Johann Conrad Dippel, then finally with Mary Shelley, then with Boris Karloff as the monster in the 1931 film. So yeah. All right, then that's it for this one. Comment below and tell me what you think. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit the notification bell beside it for more updates, for more book reviews or other new content that I may post. So that's all for now. Take care now. Bye.